And I'm not giving up, I'm not giving up, no, not me. Even if nobody else believes, I'm not going down that easily. So don't give up on me.
Hey everyone, are you rad for Christ? Are you fired up for Jesus? Welcome back to Radical Christianity, the show that highlights God in action. I'm your host, Drew, and I want to thank you for joining us here today. Have you heard about this couple in Massachusetts who are banned from becoming foster parents on account of their religious views? Mike and Kitty Burke, a Catholic couple from Southampton, describe themselves as a loving couple that want to welcome children into their family. After struggling with infertility issues and private adoption proved to be too expensive, this couple turned to fostering as their last opportunity to become parents. But their foster license was denied by the DCF on one reason only: they would not be affirming to a child who is LGBTQIA. This led to the couple filing a federal lawsuit claiming the DCF's actions were discriminatory and unconstitutional. But come on, though, let's be real. The LGBT whatever community can't even affirm their own acronym. As practicing Catholics, the Burkes believe that the children should not undergo procedures that attempt to change their God-given sex, and they uphold Catholic beliefs about marriage and sexuality. During the interview process, the couple were asked many detailed questions on how they might handle parenting an LGBT child. I can see the interviewer now.
Imagine the child you'll foster has a magical unicorn as a best friend. How will you make sure your home is rainbow-colored enough for both of them? Imagine your foster child insists on hosting a weekly LGBTQ+ history quiz night. Are you ready to become experts in queer history and compete against your neighbors for the coveted Rainbow Quizmaster trophy?
The couple revealed that they had gay and lesbian friends who they support, and that they would love and accept their child no matter the sexual orientation. However, when it came to transgender children, the couple stated that they would not likely seek any gender-bending care before the age of 18. The couple assured the social worker they would never pursue conversion therapy and even would be willing to attend the same-sex wedding of this hypothetical gay child. The social worker recommended approval with conditions, specifically around religion and LGBTQIA-related issues. She also wrote that the couple have a lot of strengths and really seem to understand adoption foster care, but also saying their faith is not supportive of LGBTQ youth, and neither are they. The Burkes have issued their own statement saying, after months of interviews and training, and after years of heartbreak, we were on the verge of finally becoming parents. We were absolutely devastated to learn that Massachusetts would rather children sleep in the hallways of hospitals than let us welcome children in need into our home. Yes, that's right. Massachusetts has such a high amount of kids and teens in foster care with nowhere to go that they are literally housing them in hospitals for months at a time. I hope you can add the Burkes to your prayers as they continue fighting for their dream to be parents. And let's not forget about the children that need homes. All right, folks, that's enough for now. Tell me, are you rad for Christ? Are you fired up for Jesus? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. This is going to be a unique episode. We're actually going to be visiting with and talking with the people that run this show. We'll get some testimonies, we'll get some surprises, we'll get some, hopefully no one cusses. Let's hope. We'll bleep it out if it happens, don't worry. I'm just being silly here. But we really kind of wanted to give the audience an opportunity to get to know the people behind the show. Because, you're watching the show, but you really have no idea who's behind it, right? Well, you see my face, you know what I mean? and I don't really get to talk about myself very much. But so, that's basically what we're going to do right now. All right, guys, this one is fun. This is Mandy. She is a writer and production assistant on the show. She is a handful of joy, and we can't wait for you to guys talk to her. So, big round of applause for Mandy. I don't know how much you want to share. You don't have to share anything more than you want to. But maybe give the audience a brief testimony and about yourself, how you met Jesus, and then talk about why you volunteer on the show.
All right. So I grew up knowing God because of my grandma, who she would come and pick me up and take me to church since I was little, since I was like 2. And I grew up in the Lutheran church. I learned a lot about the Bible during that time, and spent the sermons just reading the Bible, Revelation and Song of Solomon and all of that. And I learned a lot. I loved it. But then as I got older, I didn't want to go to church anymore with my grandma. And when I was little, my mom and dad were regular, easy parents. But then by the time I got older, they had become like full-blown drug addicts. And so by the time I was 13, things were pretty rough. And at that time, I left my home and I moved in with my best friend. And that was a lot of fun. She lived with her mom, and her mom let us do whatever we wanted. So we were teen girls running around doing crazy stuff. I got caught up in gangs, and that was it was a path that it was definitely going nowhere. But then when I was 15, I had to go live with my aunt and uncle, and because I was no longer able to stay with her anymore. And that's one of the best things that ever happened to me, because I went from a lifestyle of living, running around with a bunch of darkness, to it was a completely different lifestyle. I moved up to the mountains, and I had to go to church all the time, and it was a different type of church. I went from a Lutheran church to Pentecostal. Ooh. So it was a completely different experience. We went from like sitting down and standing up with the minister to speaking in tongues and prophecies and all of that. And it was a real culture shock for me. And I went from having total freedom to an extremely strict Christian household. And that was presented its own challenges. And the church we were in was kind of, it was a little questionable. And I had some experiences there that kind of pushed me away from church. Then I went to Christian college and had more experiences that pushed me away. But during the whole time, I'm reading the Bible, studying the Bible, and I did walk away from church after all of that. And I felt like some of the things people were saying about God did not sound like my God. And that's why I walked away. I thought, you know what? It's going to be me and God now. I don't need to hear what other people have to say. It's me, God, and the Bible. And so I did walk away. And since then, I've been kind of practicing solo, just me and God and the Bible. And for a while there, I stepped away from the Bible as well. And I was studying a lot of different other religions and spiritual practices. And since then, it all kind of led me back to the Bible again. And so all of the lessons that I learned about the spirituality and all of that, it all is actually biblically based. And so I always go back to the Bible and what does Jesus say, what does God say, and what did God teach us? And that's where I am now. And so my ministry is really in letting God shine through me and loving people, but without making it about that. Because when I was in high school, I became like a total Bible thumper, and I was just like, I wanted to make sure that everybody had what I had, you know, and I did it in a really, really disrespectful way. And so since then, I just like to show people love. I live in harmony with the earth. I grow herbs. I eat healthy. I abstain from chemicals. And I share that with others. So when people are ill, I'll bring them, you know, herbal medicine and that sort of thing, and encourage people who are, you know, who need it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my story. And then as far as why I got involved with the show,
I was going to say that, yeah, Mandy's our resident naturalist.
Yes. So I got involved with the show because I love writing. I've been writing since I was little. My grandma taught me to read and write. When she would come and pick me up, while mom and dad were doing their weekend fun, you know, I was there with grandma. She was teaching me how to read when I was 3 years old. And with reading comes writing. And so that's a big part of my day-to-day life. I do professional writing with, you know, for businesses and stuff like that. And I wrote a book as well, so I've published a book. So I write professionally, but this is my first time writing for a show, and I love it. It is so fun. Ever since I was a little girl, watching Saturday Night Live when I shouldn't be, and thinking like, I want to, or Jay Leno, you know, like I want to be a part of that when I grow up. And then and here I am.
You'll never know which idea comes out of her head or mine. Just so you know. And you don't want to know.
It's been a pleasure, though. It's been such a joy.
Oh, you know, you've actually been a blessing to the team. You know, there's been times when, you know, the stuff that you produce has been stuff I stumble over, and then there's been other times where it's been just like rock solid nails, you know. And you know, I mean, we're easy to work together. You don't care if I hack up what you've written, you know. You know what I mean. I love it when you have good input on, and it's almost always good input. I don't know. I need to say that to just say like there's bad input. Good input on what I've written. You know what I mean. So it's like, yeah, we've been a pretty good writing team. I've been very, very blessed to have you on the team. And
Thank you.
Mandy does a great job.
Thank you.
Applause for Mandy.
Thank you.
Thank you. So you know, when you joined the team, did you expect it to be as much fun or as silly or as crazy?
I had no idea what to expect. I imagined something a little bit different, but it turned out to be even better than I thought it would be.
Very cool.
I love it.
All right. Well, it's a blessing to have you around, and we definitely are happy to keep you on for a long time, as long as you'll keep hanging out with us.
Thank you.
Everybody, now you know who to blame when you don't like the monologue. No, you actually get to blame me.
He has the final say. He's the final
it's
cut.
It's my fault. All right. Thanks, Mandy.
Thank you.
All right, guys, this is going to be a fun episode. Told you. Right now we got a father and son who volunteer on the show. We're talking about Craig and Jordan. Let's get a big round of applause. Woo! Now, Craig, you've been a guest on this show initially, and then that led to your son volunteering, and then that led to you volunteering.
Yeah, it was pretty cool the way it worked out, huh?
Yeah. So if you guys don't remember, California Medley Boys, you need to go back and watch that episode again to refresh your memory 20, 30, 40 times. And then, so basically, you know, you guys want to just tell a brief story or whatever, and maybe you've kind of given your testimony on the show already, so you don't have to focus on that.
Right.
If Jordan, if you feel like giving your testimony, you can.
Well, I'm not really sure I have one.
Oh, you have one.
You have one. I mean, I can lead it up to him. I can explain a little bit what you kind of led into a little bit. Like we were guests on the show, and then I really kind of fell in love with the idea of your show and what you're doing, and I thought it was such a great thing. And knowing his bent for videography and the fact that he was kind of starting to learn filmmaking in school and going to a course in that, and had a big passion for it, the wheels got turned in my head, and that's when I reached out to you and said, can Jordan work on your show? Do you have a spot for Jordan? And you said, absolutely. So Jordan came up, and as you remember, I would sit here and do work in the booth on my laptop, and you were like, hey, what are you just sitting there for? And we connected about me getting involved with the show too. And it's actually been a really cool joy to be able to come, not just to work. I mean, I enjoy working on the show, and I enjoy investing in your vision as well. But also,
it's God's vision, I just execute.
Yeah. And but the side benefit is the fact of the joy of getting to work with my son on a weekly basis, and the fact that we get to spend that time together, not only in the car coming here and just talking a little bit, but actually doing something together. And then, of course, it's always an opportunity for us to go get a bite afterwards and just enjoy some father and son time. So all around, it's been just a great experience for us to just build a relationship with you, work together on the show, and feel like we're investing in the vision that God gave you and in the vision of the kingdom,
Yeah.
So.
And you guys are definitely a part of the family around here. That's
Well,
thanks. You guys fit right in with the insanity.
Yeah, you definitely made us feel a part of the insanity.
Yeah, we're kind of loose around here,
Yeah.
So it's we do frown on like negativity and hatred and
Right.
anger and that kind of stuff, but
Yep.
it doesn't really happen so much, so there's not a problem.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely a blessing to have you guys on the show.
Thanks.
Jordan is getting really skilled. He's actually pretty impressive now. He started out not knowing pretty much like which focus direction to go, but but now he I don't even have to tell him. He shows up. He knows what to do. Knows what to do it. Showed his dad what to do.
Yeah. Showed an old dog new tricks, didn't he?
Yeah, definitely. So now that you guys have been on the show, you've been volunteering for a while.
Mm-hmm.
What have you been getting out of it the most?
Really, I'm glad you brought that up, because I was just thinking just a second ago, when we're here, there's a lot of times that the guests that you bring on the show have been just as big of an impact on us personally, to sit and listen to their stories and listen to their testimonies and get to meet them, that it's just been really impactful to us. Of course, what I described as us working together, that's been a big impact on us as well, too. And I think it's strengthened our working relationship a little bit. A little side story, I won't go into too much detail, but when he was born, he is my 8th child. And after raising 7, his mom...
8?
I do have 8, yeah. He is my 4th son and my youngest of 8. Yep. So I know, here comes the jokes about are we Mormon?
I'll save them for later.
But after his mom kind of raising 7 kids as a stay-at-home mom, she was now a working nurse, and she kind of handed him to me and said, this one, you get to raise this one. So it was a true joy.
So
actually, him and I have been very close since his birth, since a little guy in my arms. So it's kind of extra special for us to work together, knowing, that we have that kind of extra special relationship. Now, if any of my kids happen to see this other than Jordan, I don't have any favorites, but I have a special relationship with each one of them, and I have this unique relationship with Jordan.
You're still in the will.
Yeah, for what it's worth.
What about you, Jordan? What did you get most out of the show so far, working on it?
Well, honestly, to be perfectly honest with you, before the show, I did not have any relationship with God at all. And so I think through people's stories and through interacting with this show, I've been getting closer and closer with God.
That is a beautiful thing. I mean,
Yeah.
literally, there's nothing you could say more impactful from that, right? I'm sure some of you are crying right now.
Yeah, Dad's this close.
Dad's this close to crying. Yeah, that's amazing, Jordan. That's a beautiful thing to hear. I hope that your relationship with God continues to grow, and it gets deeper. And it is a privilege to be a part of connecting you with Jesus.
Amen.
That's amazing.
Amen. What better thing could come out of it, right?
That's what this show is about, right?
In the ministry that I'm involved in, we say, we're going out to minister to people to make a difference in people's lives. And sometimes in the pursuit of that, it changes us. It has an impact on us, and it grows us spiritually. So, then again, touche. Yeah.
Well, no, that's great. I mean, the show has impacted me. You know what I mean? It's called me to a higher standard.
Absolutely.
But like I didn't know that, Jordan, and I just found out with all y'all. So
me too.
That's Yeah, that's terrific. And
Yeah.
I bet you guys driving home conversation is going to be really cool today.
Well, to state the obvious, I'm very proud of this young man. So
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, we're all proud of Jordan.
Of course we
actually.
are.
Yeah.
Yep.
You are definitely part of the family and a very cherished member of the team.
And just so, I've said this to you before, but we are very thrilled about it. We enjoy very much looking forward to Tuesdays and coming up and doing this with you. So
Yeah. Well, that's I'm glad to hear it because we need you here. So
Great.
These guys pretty much sit behind the cameras and talk with the booth. And so anytime that it's out of focus or it's a bad shot.
Yeah, it's us. And we're the ones snickering in the darkness.
Yeah, when you hear laughter in the studio, other than the audience, it's these guys. Yeah.
Well, anyway, just thanks again for letting us be part of this vision and being a part of this kingdom work. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, you know what? I don't take responsibility or blame. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I definitely believe 100% that God's hands are in this show.
Absolutely.
He's got purpose and vision behind everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And we just do our best to execute, and God will continue to do things, including some of the changes we have coming. You guys will be excited. These guys know. You don't know yet.
It's going to be exciting, actually.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff coming. Just so you know, the show's going to get better and better. So we're very excited to do this, and we have a great team. I'm so proud of the team that I have, and it's God's definitely in it, and Jordan's is an example of the kind of miracles that can happen when God's put in charge. So.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, Drew.
Housekeeping time. Those of you who watch the show know how much this pains me to do, because I am not good at asking for money. It's not really my thing. I'm not a televangelist. I'm not, you need to send Jesus $30,000 so that he can move miracles for you in your life. I mean, it's just not my style. I mean, that might be true, and we'll take the money, but it's not my style. Actually, what I would like to do is I would just like to invite you to have the opportunity to partner with God and to help produce this show by providing us some funds that we could really use to extend the life of the show and make it better. So if you have 5, 10, 15, 20 or more, please feel free to go to the radforchrist.com website. That's rad4christ.com, and click the donate link. That will take you to the Mr. E Christian Media donation page. On there, you will find that there is a drop down, and you can select Radical Christianity right from that. You can actually select a number of the projects, and we would be blessed with the donation that you make. You will be blessed by the Spirit for the donation you make. The kingdom of God will be blessed for the money and the purposes and the results of the donation that you make. Anyway, if you can't make a donation, that's great. That's fine. It's not a problem. It's not like we're charging you for the show. You can just maybe help us out by sharing the show with a friend, telling a friend, putting it on social media, saying, making a comment and let us know what you think. Whatever, we just want you to be engaged with us, and we're so glad that you've decided to join us. And, these things are things that are minor requests, and they're not requirements. So anyway, thank you for your time. That was the housekeeping. On with the show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the last member of our team, and this guy goes to my church, and I know him real well. I've known him for a very long time. He's a good friend of mine. I adore him. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Dave Morrow.
Thank you, Matt.
How you doing?
Good, good. Yeah, doing very well. Just, interesting surprise. I wasn't expecting to like come in and be part of the show. I'm you know, my thing. I'm always in the background, hanging out in the dark, shying away from the camera. But so about myself, I'm from the Central Valley. Grew up in Kerman. Didn't have like a major church upbringing, although God has peppered my life with the right people, so that when I got into trouble or when I was looking for a place to turn, I knew who to turn to, and you know, looking for those kind of folks. So my background is in technology, you know. I started out working in research and development on like supercomputers. I have a double E electrical engineering degree. Went into computer science, so I'm well versed in computers and technology from a very low level, from component level design, assembly, programming, all that fun stuff. I've done IT management, network management, and then God or life threw me a curveball. I was on a business trip one day, and I was mugged, and took a 3/4 inch pipe, left frontal lobe, and lights out, and game over. Career was over. I had a traumatic brain injury, which ended my career. I had to, you know, learn life all over again. I had pretty severe aphasia for a while, but that cleared up. But I had to go to speech therapy, all kinds of therapies. I have very, very poor memory, and I just really struggled. It got to the point where I couldn't really attend church anymore the way I used to. Like I couldn't attend worship service because the lighting, the noise, it just melted my brain. So I would just sit out in the lobby before going into church, and then I'd wait till all that was over, and I'd go and listen to the message and leave. And that was my church life. And then out of the blue, Joseph, our worship director at Clovis Hills, one day asked me to help with a project. And it was kind of technical involved, so he came to me and asked me about it. And oddly enough, out of pride, call it what you will, I didn't want to say no. Not because I felt like I couldn't do it, there's no way I could do this, but it was actually relatively easy compared to anything I've ever done in my life. So out of stubborn pride, I said, I'll do it. And then later I'm like, how am I going to do it? Like, why did I do that? And so I felt like I put myself in a really bad position. I just agreed to do something I wasn't capable of doing. But I thought, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to try. So I tried, and it was a real struggle for me, but I got it. Somehow, by God's grace, I got it done. Long story short, through that experience, I started to learn not to say no to God. Like when God throws in an opportunity in my lap, I won't say no. I've learned that God taught me that I can't, but He can.
Right.
And so that's kind of where my path in worship tech started, because I started getting asked to do more and more, and I'm like, I can't do this. Like, but God's telling me, but I can. So just trust me, go. And that's where I'm at today. You know, I'm running an audio for some of the church services at Clovis Hills. I've been a lighting director. And this whole time, like my doctors are telling me, don't do this. I actually had one doctor dropped me as a patient because I refused to stop doing what I was doing. He's like, you can't do this. You're going to do more harm than good. And I'm like, I feel like I'm being asked by God to do this, so I'm going to do it. And so, yeah, that's where I'm at with all this today. And then, of course, you approached me about, and I remember when you asked, you told me about the concept, and I replied back, yeah, I'm really interested, like, keep me informed. But I never actually committed. And you kept like, hey, are you still interested? Are you still interested? Like, yeah, I'm interested, but like I am extremely overwhelmed. And it was another one of those situations where God was like, dude, how many times we have to go over this? Like, just do it and I'll make it happen. And again, that's where we're at here, you know. We're what, episode 25 this is?
25.
And so, yeah, it's another example of when God throws something in your path and says, hey, can you pick this up? And you're willing to do this for me. Sometimes you got to just do it and not say, but, you know, but I got this and I can't do this and I can't do that. Sometimes you just got to say, you know what? It's not about what I can or cannot do. It's about what God is asking me to do. And got to pick it up and you got to go with it.
That's awesome. You know, you made me think about something that God's educated me on recently. It's something I've known and been told over and over and over again. But when you challenge God or complain to God, there's consequences.
Right.
It's like, okay, look at the Israelites in the desert, right? They were technically only supposed to be in the desert 18 days by God's original communication, but then they ended up in 40 years because they kept complaining, you know? Like the whole snake being having to raised on the staff. It's because they were complaining. It's like they suffered penalty after penalty after penalty because they were basically telling God, "No, we think we know better."
Right.
And it's like, yeah, sure. Yeah, I appreciate you being part of the team. We've gotten really close. I definitely think of you as a brother. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And this has been a joy having you on the team. You have contributed so much to what we do here, and you know, and it's just been a blessing. You've been a blessing, and you know, I'm so grateful for you, and I hope that you get plenty of blessings out of it. Now, my last question is, what's the best part of working on the show so far?
So I've met some really good people here. I'm not speaking specifically of guests, like, you know, working with Mandy has been great. Greg and Jordan are awesome. But we've met one of the interesting things we keep having guests on that are like out of my past that I haven't seen in a while. I'm like, so you'll bring people in and I'm like, I know you.
That's so funny that keeps happening.
So it's kind of fun to reconnect with some of that stuff. And some of those people, some of the guests are impactful. It's you know, you sit in that booth and you go, wow, man, like, pick up on things, and so you some of the stuff you hear you carry out of here with you. So it's not just coming here to do stuff. It's like, I tell people this all the time, like if you're willing to step up and volunteer for God, you're going to, trust me, you're going to get more out of it than you put into it. I truly believe that. And I think that's some of what I've experienced here a lot. I don't come here giving as much as when I come here and I listen to somebody talk and I'm like, wow, I got to remember that. So yeah, and the people here that I work with, they're they have an impact on my life. So again, this is another situation where I feel I get more than I give.
That's fantastic to hear. You're definitely a blessing to have on the show, man.
Thank you.
And you know, as you know, you're rad for Christ and fired up for Jesus, and I love
Amen.
to see it. All right, cool. Thank you very much.
Cool.
All right, folks, I got a little something to share with you. This is a mystery Christian media project that we want to promote here on Radical Christianity. Radical Christianity also is a mystery Christian media product. Obviously, it is part of the overall ministry. We have a media ministry. We do quite a bunch of little things, comic book, there's website promotions, things. But this one thing that I'm about to introduce to you is a little bit fun. It is a pushback on the modern concept of how people are starting to make politics their religion. Okay, and what this is it's called Jesus for President. I don't know if you can see that bumper sticker, but it's fun, right? So here is the yard sign for Jesus for President, right? If you look here, we have a website. It's JesusForPresident.com. Again, the number 4, like we do with Radical Christianity, Rad for Christ, right? But JesusForPresident.com. You can go to that website at any given time, and we actually have these yard signs for sale, and we have these bumper stickers for sale. And then if you buy those, we'll throw in some stickers or something like that. But the whole concept is to bring attention to how there is so much division and hatred and anger and visceral attitude in politics these days. And I understand. I mean, people are motivated by cultural things that exist in politics. I mean, I am motivated by politics. I study politics, but I don't let politics rule my life. So our concept is to have Jesus be a subject matter for this political discussion, right? So, and it's not obviously, we're not actually going to elect Jesus for president. Okay, this is not going to actually be the thing. What we do is we want Jesus to be the president of your heart. Okay, so you're going to choose Jesus to be the president of your heart. So then everything that you do politically, hopefully, will be focused on the lens of Jesus first, right? So it would actually help you be a better person as far as working with politics and all that kind of stuff. But then also you can get a yard sign, you can get a bumper sticker, and you can remind other people that, hey, you know what? I don't care if you're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, or whatever, freak of nature, who knows, whatever you want to classify yourself as. But it doesn't matter, right? Jesus loves you, and Jesus wants to be there for you, and Jesus wants to be the president of your heart forever, rest of your life, okay? And that's what this is about. It's about telling people that no matter what kind of politics is going on, what's like that, we're all still brothers and sisters under the sun. And if you get yourself a yard sign or a bumper sticker or both, it would be really good to help spread the word. All right. So I'm going to be talking about this a lot. So you may hear about it 20, 30, 50,000 times. But yeah. So JesusForPresident.com. I hope that you enjoy what you find there. There is going to be a lot more growing on that site. It's still just launched. So enjoy yourselves. And enjoy the rest of the show. I'm going to go ahead and share with you my testimony and how God put me in this position. I have had quite a rocky road over the years. My father is a Southern Baptist preacher. My mom was raised Assembly of God, Pentecostal, and that's an interesting combination, just so we know. So growing up in my house, we definitely had some weird dynamics. I basically had the Bible around me all the time growing up. We weren't always digging into it, praying as a family. We didn't even really go to church as a family very much. But when I was, very young, I did go to Sunday school, during elementary age. Got to know all the basics, all the basic Bible stories, all that kind of stuff. My mom made sure I had a big stack of those little single-story Bible books, and we basically would, read those stories before going to bed. So I got to know all the stories of, Daniel in the lion's den, I don't want to go down the road of just telling the stories. You guys can pretty much figure out the list of stories that went through there. And, a lot of them stuck with me growing up. And that foundation that my parents gave me, super important. Just so we know, super, super important. If that hadn't been there, I don't know if I would have recovered from some of the straying that I had done. My junior high school time, I had basically, my parents had gotten divorced, when I was a child. They, which really kind of broke my heart. They went their own ways. My father ended up getting remarried and was very physically abusive, which had me very angry and very upset all the time. My mother found out about that. She had me come live with her, and basically, my father got turned into CPS for beating me up all the time, and that was not a pleasant thing. My father and I never really fixed that relationship, and he's passed away now. And it's, I hope that maybe someday, we'll meet again in heaven, and then we'll finally be able to reconnect. That'd be a glorious thing. When I was living with my mom, I don't really remember exactly what did it, but God reached out to me and called me back. And so I started to get in a lot of trouble, but after getting in a lot of trouble, I started going back to church. Not exactly sure why that corner needed to be turned. I felt God calling me to do it, and so I did. So I was going to church by myself. My mom didn't go. Nobody was going with me from my family. And, I would go to the junior high youth group, and I would go to the service, and then I would go to the summer camps and the winter camps, and then it became high school, same scenario, summer camps, winter camps, service, and group, getting engaged, and that was also very fundamental to my core understanding of who Jesus was and my, and on my studies of the Bible. Of course, when I was a senior in high school, I wanted to pursue Christian rock, and there were no doors open for me to do that. There was no way that I could find to make that an actual pursuit. I could write the music, I could play, but there was no avenue of performance. There was no venue that was, doing that. There wasn't a way to submit songs to a Christian label. There was, that was open. There was really nothing allowing me to pursue that road. I couldn't even get a band together to pursue that. But secular music was readily available for me, so I did pursue that. I did pursue secular music, and eventually got in a band, I got in lots of bands, but eventually we ended up moving across the country to join a touring band, and toured on the road for a few years, got to really experience the ugly underside of the music industry, And during all that process, I strayed heavily away from God, and not really proud of that. But God's pulled me back, and He has me now back. I am very adamantly pursuing a deeper relationship with Jesus every day. I basically live to serve Him. I have a lot I could tell you later. We can always talk more about the deep nuances of my testimony. But the core mission is that God has me starting this nonprofit, Mystery Christian Media. It is the mission statement of Mystery Christian Media is to enable creatives to use their talents for the glory of God. Basically, what wasn't available for me when I was pursuing Christian rock, God has told me He wants me to reconcile that for future Christians. So that's what we're attempting to do here with God's help and Him behind it. Obviously, it's going to happen. Don't know how fast He's going to make it happen. Don't know how driven the future is, because nobody knows what God's thinking. We can only know God's nature, right? So, with all that insanity said, God hit me with this Radical Christianity show. I had actually been working on another TV show. I don't know if any of you watched the Everything Sparkle show, but I've been producing that show for a very long time here at CMAC. And God called me to do this show and I wasn't the original idea for the host. Just so you know, I told God, no, I don't want to host the show. And I asked around to a lot of my friends and a lot of people who I thought would make a much better host than me, who were a lot more, you might say, traditional in their spiritual grounding, whether they be a pastor or somebody who's gone to seminary or any of that kind of stuff. But God made it really clear to me that He wanted me to host the show. And after saying no a bunch of times, I finally accepted that, that's what God wanted. And so here we are, 25 episodes into the show, and my silly, long-haired, bearded mug is what you guys have. And I apologize. But I have a great team. We do some really creative, fun things, and there is a big future for this show. We're going to be doing some really fun stuff. We're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to be adding some more content other than just interviews. I'm not going to tell you any more than that. But I hope that you will continue to join us for more episodes. And I just want you to know that sharing Jesus with you is, the whole point of this, right? There is a very, very, very big point to this whole show, right? And that is to get the message of Jesus out. And the nonprofits, let them know that they exist so that they get highlighted and their ministries can be lifted up from this. God has a great purpose in this show, and it is wonderful that you have joined us to experience this thing. So, to wrap all this up, I know there's somebody out there right now who's watching the show who's wondering, if Jesus is really for them, right? Well, let me just tell you, if you're wondering about Jesus, odds are He's kind of doing some work on you, right? Maybe, maybe you feel a little scared about it. Maybe you're not sure about it. But you know what? There's nothing to fear when it comes to Jesus. Jesus is not going to hurt you. I mean, the worst that'll happen is that you'll, make some changes in your life that are a little bit more difficult, but the blessings will be so much greater. And if you are wondering how you make this happen with Jesus, it's real simple. You just talk to Him. You just talk to Jesus. You say, hey, Jesus, I need you. I need you to come into my life and turn me into the person that you want me to be. And God, I know that I am a flawed person. I know that I can be better, but if you just help me to be more like what you've designed me to be. Something like that. Something real simple. You don't have to get crazy. You can tell God that you're sorry for your sins. You can tell God that you love him, that you can tell God that you're broken and you really need somebody to help you get fixed. You know, these are things that we all experience. You're not alone in that. All of us are broken. All of us are sinners. All of us need Jesus to help us to be better than we are, because we're not going to be able to do it on our own. There are people out there who think, oh, well, they don't have Jesus and they're really good people. Yeah, I would question that. I mean, maybe they are good people. It's very possible. However, I'm going to go with there's probably something in their closet that, is needing to get corrected, and they really could use Jesus to help them with that. So don't think that you are, different than the rest of us, all right? And if you realize that in Romans it says that if you believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, and you say with your mouth that he is Lord, you will be saved. And if you said that prayer and you believe that in your heart, then guess what? You are now part of the family of God, and we are glad you're here to join us. Welcome to the family. And if you did pray that during the show, I'm going to be very grateful. And I would love it if you would go on to our website, rad4christ.com. It's rad4christ.com, and fill out the Got Saved form. That way I can know who you are, and I can send you a Bible, right? And then you can have your own Bible, and I'll send you a little gift too, and you can have that little gift. And, and if you have a question or a prayer request, or anything like that, also the website has forms special for those too. We want to know what you're doing. We want to engage with you. If you have some comments or some questions or some suggestions about the show, we want to hear them. If you just want to tell us that you think we smell bad because of how we look, hey, we're open to hearing that. I don't know how you're guessing how we smell from an image, but that would just be a thing, right? Okay, so that's just silly. I know it's silly, but we do want to hear from you. We do care about you. We do want to be engaged in your life, and we want to be a source of information, and we want to be there for you. And this part is the most important part, and that is Jesus Christ loves you. So do I. Thank you for joining us on Radical Christianity. We'll see you next week.
And I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up, no, not me. Even if nobody else believes, I'm not going down that easily. So don't give up on me.
It's a mystery.
Ladies and gentlemen, this song is called Sanctuary.
Well, I can tell you what I've seen so far. Would you listen to me when I say those things? Kill you to hear. I can only take you so far. Rest away on your own. I can offer you can trust me. If you feel you'll fall, hold on tightly. If you're down on love and you feel the storm clouds come, just remember I will keep you close to my love. The rain may fall and the sun it sometimes shines, and though you feel you're lost, I won't leave you behind. We will keep you safe beneath the shadow of my wings, my love. I will keep you close to me, like the sand beneath the waves. I am here for you. Oh, like the birds that fly away, that I will never do. Just know that I am here to stay, like the flowers need the rain, my love. No, I will never change. I will dry your eyes with my palm on your cheek, and you can have no fear, my dear, knowing you are here with me. You will hear my voice like the wind beside your ear, my love. You will never shed a tear, my love. I will always